First, they replaced real food with 3D printed lab meat. Then, toxic chemicals showed up in products millions of women use every single day. And now they're using AI to bring back the dead. If you think those things aren't connected, you haven't been paying attention. But that's going to change right now because I'm going to tell you about all of it. And I want to start things off with a story that you'll normally see in a sci-fi film, but it's very real. You see, Suzanne Summers' widower just unveiled an AI robot made in her image. And according to him, it doesn't just look like her, it talks like her, moves like her, and even thinks like her because it's been programmed with her memories.
Does the name Alan Hamill mean anything to you?
Of course I do. Alan Hamill is my husband of 55 wonderful years.
What's your favorite memory that we share?
Oh, there are so many. One of my favorites is when Alan and I were filming a cooking segment together a long time ago.
Now, this is already pretty creepy and honestly straight out of a dystopian movie, but it gets a lot darker. Because here's the thing, this idea didn't just pop into his head. It comes straight from the work of Ray Kurzweil, one of the leading voices in the transhumanism movement, the man who believes humans will soon merge with machines. And guess who's been backing him for years? Bill Gates. But Gates' role in all of this doesn't stop at admiration, not even close. No, he's been actively promoting the use of AI robots and digital clones, calling them the future of humanity. In fact, he also famously said this about AI replacing people.
People are like, wow, this is a bit scary. It's completely new territory.
I mean, will we still need humans?
Not for most things. We'll decide.
And Gates isn't the only one obsessed with this transhumanism stuff. There's also Peter Thiel, and he might just be the craziest of them all.
Yeah, transhumanism is this, the ideal was this radical transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. It's someone who changes their clothes and cross dresses. The critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's so pathetically little. And okay, we want more than cross dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind and change your whole body.
These billionaires are pouring obscene amounts of money into these AI projects, trying to cheat death and literally outsmart nature itself. And let's be clear, their goal is not to improve humanity. They just want to rebuild it in their own image so they can control it. And while they're busy trying to bring the dead back to life, they're feeding us things we can't even pronounce. Additives, chemicals, and lab-grown meat all stamped safe by the FDA.
So I've been to Kroger, I've been to Target, I've been to Walmart, I've been to Aldi, Food Lion, Piggly Wiggly, Whole Foods, and Fresh Thyme. Every single one of them has a prepackaged ground meat that will not tell you, number one, where it comes from, number two, where it's packaged, and what kind of procedures that it goes through in order for us to know that it's safe. If you ask them behind the counter, they're going to tell you there's a thing on the back, scan it with your phone, and it's going to take you to a website that the FDA has put out there. And what it's going to say is, it could either be 3D printed, it could be a cloned animal. Let's just put it out there. If that's a problem, well, TikTok, you need to check the FDA website because it says it could be. Folks, God, I gotta be careful. Let's just say this. Our food ain't food anymore.
Look, he's not wrong. It's almost impossible to trace where most of these packaged meat products actually come from. And here's the disturbing part. Companies can use meat and dairy from cloned animals, and they're not even required to tell you. No label, no warning, nothing. You're just supposed to eat it and trust the system. They do have to label the 3D printed and lab-grown meat, but that's just to make us comfortable with it. They're pushing it hard, trying to make this stuff the new normal. And some of these scientists are taking it to a whole new level.
So I'll give two examples. So one is that people eat too much meat. right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption on meat, then they would, it would actually really help the planet. But people are not willing to give up meat. Possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat.
And once again, the man leading this movement is none other than Bill Gates.
And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well, or do you like it?
Absolutely. You can either fix the cows to stop them doing that, or you can make beef without the cow. And both of those, will be pursued to see which one can lead to the best product.
But he's not alone. Jeff Bezos is right there with him. His lab-grown salmon has already been approved by the FDA. This is disturbing news. The FDA just approved lab-grown salmon, and yes, it's already being served at a high-end restaurant in Portland. The company behind it, Wild Type, is only the 4th in the US to get this kind of clearance. It's being pushed as a sustainable fix for overfishing, especially since Pacific salmon stocks have dropped 30% since 2000, according to NOAA. But let's not ignore what's really going on. This is the start of a full-blown shift in how your food is made and possibly controlled. A Nature food study says lab-grown meat could cut emissions by 96%, but we still have zero long-term health data. Only preliminary safety reviews have been done. And while surveys say 60% of Americans would try it, that hasn't stopped the backlash. People online are already linking this to Bill Gates and his investments in synthetic foods. The public isn't just worried about taste, they're worried about control. Lab-grown meat isn't just a food trend. It's a test run for replacing everything on your plate with something made in a tank. And once it starts, who decides what's safe to eat next? And here's the part nobody talks about. While they tell us to eat synthetic meat and fake fish, they're out buying farmland, organic brands, and real food sources for themselves. Almost like they know something we don't. And speaking of keeping us in the dark, many women are now uploading scary videos of stuff hidden inside sanitary pads.
Hi everyone, this is going to be my first video I make, and this is because I'm scared for my life. I don't know if it's with other girls. So look at this. I've just opened my pads. I entered my periods yesterday, and I always use Oris every time. Since I started my periods, Oris has been my G. So this time I was scrolling on my TikTok and I find girls talking about how these pads are not good, are not nice, and I'm like, yo, you're lying. But when I checked mine out, see what I found. Guys, look at this. Mind you, this is new. I've just opened it. It looks clean outside, like nothing is there. But have a look at this when you...
Okay, so we saw this on TikTok, right? All right. Always pad. It is brand new. Take it down so I can see it. Turn it around. Okay. Look, you don't see anything on it. It's brand new. Obviously, I just took the back off. Now put it back up to the fucking light. That is mold. Oh,
that's crazy.
My God.
When we first had it up here, it was just green. I'm like, all right, ain't really shit. But I still don't like that color. And then we flipped it, and then we was like, oh shit. Yeah, nah, bro.
Now, some people are saying these are just absorbent fibers, but look closely and you'll see why that's terrifying. Normal cotton shouldn't look moldy under a light source. And before you say it's impossible for these pads to be so contaminated, remember how earlier this year they had to recall thousands of contaminated medical swabs. We have breaking and developing news. They're not just recalling food anymore. Now it's your medicine cabinet that's under fire. Because this week, the FDA just issued a massive recall on popular medical swabs, ones you use inside your nose, or even worse, on your baby's gums. We're talking Zicam nasal swabs and baby Oragel teething swabs pulled from shelves for one reason: microbial contamination. Translation: they were possibly covered in dangerous bacteria or fungus. Let that sink in. Products sold to keep your child calm or relieve cold symptoms might have been laced with life-threatening microbes. The very thing you trusted to soothe pain could have been the thing making you or your kids sick. And guess what? These weren't obscure brands from some sketchy website. These were major mass market products sitting in national retail stores across the US, sold to millions without a second thought. And it gets darker. This wasn't the first time something like this happened. It's becoming a pattern. FDA recalls after the damage is done. You ever notice that? They don't catch it early, they catch it after it's already in your home. Why aren't these products tested more aggressively before they hit shelves? Why are we trusting multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies to police themselves? And more importantly, how many other products are quietly contaminated right now sitting in your bathroom drawer? They call it a recall, but by the time you hear about it, it's already too late. Start asking questions, because the things we trust most, they're becoming the biggest threats of all. So maybe it's not so impossible after all. And that's exactly why trusting these mega corporations can be a terrible mistake. Now, to wrap up, I want to share a clip that I found particularly interesting, and I want to know what you guys think about it.